Okay, perfect. We are recording it, and that way, if you have anything you want to refer to after this, you're more than welcome to do that. I'll email everybody a copy of the recording after too. So just check your email about an hour or 2 hours after this, and you'll be able to access it from there. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this exciting development presentation. This is a new development that's coming up here on Ambergris Caye. I am extremely excited to talk to you about it. There's an incredible opportunity here for private ownership, full title ownership for you to own a wonderful piece of this resort complex. My name is Rachel. I am the broker owner of Luna Realty Belize. I live here in San Pedro. I've been on the island for about 10 years. I'm originally from New York and I made my way down back in 2012. Initially, I was coming back and forth for work purposes, living in Nicaragua at the time, coming back and forth to Belize to start a team here for the development I was working with. And over time, as I realized, I was starting to come down more and more frequently for longer periods of time, and then ultimately decided that Belize is really where I wanted to call home. So I made that move to Belize full time and have been here since. And let me do a quick poll here for folks who are on the line with us. Find that Q&A section again and let me know if you've been here to Belize. Type yes if you have, no if you haven't. Yes, if you have, no, if you haven't. I'm just curious to see about our folks who are calling in. Yeah, find that Q&A section. So George hasn't been here before. Go ahead, guys. James has. Awesome. Okay, so we're only two folks have answered so far, but that's a 50-50 split. Yes. Okay, great. But the reason that I ask that is because a lot of times when people are looking at real estate opportunities here, sometimes they're looking just from the discovery period, right? They haven't been down before. They heard a lot about Belize, and so they want to check it out. But typically what tends to happen is people come here once and then they get the bug and then they realize, you know what, this is a place where I want to spend time, where I want to live. And then they end up looking at real estate. I'm seeing here, David, yes. Nadeem, I'm glad you made it. Awesome. James, he's from California. He's been to Belize. Awesome. So it actually looks like a majority of our folks have been to Belize, which is awesome. So hopefully, as I'm referencing certain points and areas of Ambergris, you have an idea of what we're talking about. If you haven't, I'll try to get very specific for you. But anyway, enough of my little intro there. I want to introduce to you my very special guest, Malik. Malik is the co-developer here of the project, and he's a very fascinating, driven individual. I had the chance to meet him a few months ago through a mutual friend, and have to say I was just absolutely blown away with his project, his vision for it. And so I wanted for you guys to hear from him. And so Malik, with that being said, I'm going to mute myself, and why don't you tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, your first visit to Belize, and what you really envision this project to be.
Thanks a lot, Rachel. It's quite the introduction, so I appreciate it. And hello, everybody who's on the call today, and thank you for taking the time. My name is Malik Smith. I'm originally from Toronto, Canada, so I saw that we had somebody else from Toronto, which is great. So the Canadians are repping on this call, which is awesome. My first trip down to Belize would have been December of 2019, and I absolutely fell in love with it as a country. The people, the culture, the ability to go to the jungle, go to the sea, all of that really spoke to me. My first trip down, we were only there for about 4 days, and I fell in love with it so much that I came back about a month and a half later by myself for a week. I stayed down in Caye Caulker. I'm a big scuba diver, so I went and did lots of scuba diving, came over to San Pedro and really explored the island on my own. That's when my business partner, who's also involved in Aruna, Justin Ferguson, and I really started chatting, and an opportunity came up on the west side of Ambergris Caye to purchase some land, and we really started getting our heads together to try to come up with, what's our vision if we're going to do a project like this in Belize. What's our vision for it? And we really wanted to marry, Belize's jungle and sea vibes and create something truly unique on the west side of Ambergris Caye. We're sitting about 2.5 minutes from downtown, 10 minutes to Secret Beach, and everything that you can kind of see that we're putting into it comes with that vibe of trying to create a unique project that follows the jungle. We'll have to, really put a lot of detail into landscaping. Also trying to be as eco-friendly as possible, because Belize is a beautiful country, and we don't want to spoil the land. So we've really invested heavily in coming up with designs that are solar friendly, that are waste minimization, that use water collection, rainwater collection. Our waste system produces almost no byproduct to it. So it allows us to be totally self-contained in Ambergris Caye and be as eco-friendly as possible. So yeah, it's been a journey. We're about 2 years into this now. But we're really excited to have everybody on, and loving that the interest that's coming along with this project. And we're really excited to show you what Aruna has to offer.
Awesome. Thank you, Malik. And one of the things that you mentioned is having the jungle meet the sea. And I love that, because for those of you who've been here to Belize before, it's a small country, it's about the size of Massachusetts, but there really is a different feel between the Caribbean islands and then the jungle landscape that you find on the mainland. And being able to marry those two together gives an experience that is so unbelievably unique here on Ambergris Caye. Ambergris Caye is the #1 tourism destination for the entire country. A lot of people are still going to the mainland for a couple of days, but being able to really get that experience and having that jungle-like experience right there while having the Caribbean is truly, truly the best of both worlds. So for those of you who may be wondering what Aruna means, it comes from the mythology meaning sea god and sun god. So when you add those two together, that's where we get that awesome concept of marrying the two with the sun and the sun and the sea. And that's typically what we find here in Belize. It's just a very tropical, sunny place. The Caribbean waters are as blue as you see there, and it just really is a very, very unique place. And then being able to couple the uniqueness of Belize with the Aruna project has been really, really quite fascinating to see it come through. And you'll see some pictures and imagery and videos throughout this here, but I have to say, I think one of my favorite parts about this project is the local hardwood that's brought in to the construction, also into all of the furniture and just different elements throughout the property. So you'll see that as we continue on. I'm not going to go through this whole slide here. Of course, I know you all can read, but what I would highly recommend, if Belize is a new place for you, we did a Belize 101 webinar a couple of weeks ago. I'm happy to send you over that recording. Just feel free to reach out to me and I'll send over, why Belize is a great spot. We also go through the 6 districts of Belize. We also focus on Ambergris Caye, so you can learn more about the country generally, and then also more specifically about Ambergris Caye and why it continues to be the #1 destination for a lot of folks. But I think simply put, a lot of times people are coming to Belize. We love that English is spoken here. You don't have to try to learn another language, although you can learn some Creole or Spanish if you want to, because that's also spoken, but it's easy enough to get to. Direct flights from North America. And a lot of our visitors at this point are from North America. And then also the tropical climate, especially those as we're nearing winter and it's getting colder in the north. We do find it is a very popular place for snowbirds and also people who just want to relax. They want to de-stress and get to a place that's absolutely beautiful. So for those of you who are familiar with Belize, we're located on Ambergris Caye. As I mentioned, Ambergris Caye is the #1 tourism destination for the entire country. A big reason for that, and follow my cursor over here, is because we have the barrier reef. This is the largest living reef in the world. And so what that means is we attract a lot of divers, fishermen, fly fishermen, snorkelers, people who just really enjoy water activities. We have a lot of sailors who are coming here, and people who just want to unwind and be by the Caribbean waters. And because of this reef, that really is one of the primary reasons why we have the amount of tourism that we have. And because of that, we understand this is the bread and butter of our country here. And so there is a lot of effort taken to make sure that reef is taken care of, to make sure it's healthy. And I like, Malik, how you mentioned before the eco-conscious part of this development, because that is extremely important as we do want to consider the life of the reef and making sure that we're building sustainably and making sure that we're doing what we can to preserve the surroundings around us. So I'm going to dig a little bit deeper to the location of where we're located on Ambergris Caye. So San Pedro town is the primary town on Ambergris Caye. You may hear people refer to the entire island as San Pedro, but do you know the entire island is Ambergris Caye? San Pedro is the primary town. And then it's a very, very convenient location. As Malik mentioned, it's a few minutes from the heart of the downtown area. So you'll fly where it says sea, you'll fly in from Tropic Air, or maybe you take the water taxi where D is located over here, a little bit on the land. And then within 3 minutes, a little bit less than that, maybe even, you are over here from San Pedro town to Aruna. We just got a pontoon for the owners as well. So you'll be able to have maybe a little bit more of a leisurely ride, over a 5-minute boat ride, but still a very, very convenient location. And this area, jot this down, guys. This area is called Costa del Sol. This is the Costa del Sol area of Ambergris Caye. It is probably one of the quickest developing areas on Ambergris Caye. A lot of people really are attracted to this location because of the proximity to Ambergris, but also specifically with Aruna. there's a road to Secret Beach. And Secret Beach is an absolutely beautiful destination. It's where a lot of folks tend to go for the beaches, because I do, and hear me say this, Ambergris Caye is not necessarily known for its beaches. We're known for our diving and snorkeling. However, H, where you see H and G, these are beautiful beaches on the West Coast. And we don't have the seagrass over there. You can go out with your cocktail in your hand and wade out for miles because it's shallow and it's that crystal clear blue water. We have the sandbars over there. And so this really is H, where you see H over here, Secret Beach. This really is the attraction when people are looking for beaches. And to have that road coming from Secret Beach directly there to the Aruna project in 10-15 minutes is a huge selling point for you. And the reason that I mentioned that also is also because of the convenience of it. So yes, you can take the boat over from the heart of the downtown area, or perhaps you want to rent a golf cart, and you can certainly do so. And you can drive from Secret Beach back to your cabana. So there is a lot of convenience in this location. Like I mentioned, it is also one of the fastest growing areas within Ambergris Caye, and that primarily is because of the convenience. So just for those of you who are just trying to understand the map a little bit more, this is Ambergris Caye. So Costa del Sol is located on the island, on the west side of the island. And then we have the lagoon in between San Pedro and the property. So a really, really beautiful spot. And any flying fishermen on the line, if you are, feel free to say yes there in the chat. Perhaps you know somebody who is. And if they are, or you are, F, right over here by the property is just an incredible place where you're going to find a lot of people are going to be doing flying fishing. And, even from your deck on these homes at Aruna, you're able to just cast your line right into the canal and do some fishing there, which is awesome. So we talked a little bit about this before, and I'm not going to read it verbatim here, but one of the big advantages to this opportunity is the fact that we really are living in harmony with nature. And I think the fact that there'll be incredible landscaping to be bringing this jungle scape to it, but being able to look right out of your front door and seeing the water is something that is just so incredibly unique. We mentioned just a couple of minutes from town, and then also just about 10-15 minutes from Secret Beach. And the road is it's graded. It's a clear road, so you're able to drive. It's not like you're going off-roading or anything along those lines. There is a clear path for you to be driving. And for those who've been to Ambergris Caye before, you know that that's very, very important. So as Justin and Malik were looking at the inspiration for this project, for those of you who've been to Tulum or Bali, this is really where the Aruna inspiration came from. And it's this laid back, living amongst nature, green environment. And we do find that in San Pedro, this element of going green or eco-sustainability isn't necessarily something that all of the developments capture. And as we talked about before, it is imperative that they do, because we have one of the most beautiful reefs in the world right out there. But you're able to come to this part of San Pedro or Ambergris Caye, you feel like you're on a private island, but yet you have the conveniences of San Pedro town, of Secret Beach right there around you. And so you have a really comfortable, beautiful, relaxing environment right around you. So again, thinking Tulum, Bali, if you've been to those locations before, very similar in terms of inspiration. And so when it comes to the homes, we have a handful of different models that we're going to go through. I'm not going to get too specific on them. I'm not going to go through the floor plan, with my magnifying glass and show you every little corner and every little thing. What it's meant to do is show you the general concept, the layouts. If you have any specific questions about it, feel free to reach out to me directly. We can hop on the phone, go through Zoom like this, pull it up, open, and then go through details and questions. I just want to make you all aware of what's going on and the awesome opportunities that are available right now. But really, as these homes were being designed and crafted, what was taken into consideration was bringing in the local hardwoods and elements that really made these properties luxurious. And, a lot of times in Belize, you'll see some very simple structures go up. There's not really fun architecture to it. It's like a box, or sometimes you say, oh, it looks like a storage unit or barracks in some cases. And so these projects here really capture these unique elements to make you feel comfortable and to make it feel like it's unique. And so currently under construction, we have the beach club, the pool club. I have some pictures of this that I'll show you guys as well. An over-the-water restaurant. It'll be a really wonderful, delicious 5-star restaurant. We'll have a couple of lounges, obviously Wi-Fi. That's definitely imperative at all of the locations these days. My favorite part, well, one of my favorite parts, I have a lot of favorites, but one of my favorite parts about these homes is that there is an overhanging private deck at the homes over the canals. and then the king beds. I know have a king bed at home and I've gotten very accustomed to that. So whenever I'm at a hotel that has a full bed, it just feels a little small, but this is nice, luxurious size. And then coming soon, we understand too the demographic of people who are coming to Belize. Yes, we have a handful of digital nomads. We have people who are doing like a workcation, right? They may be able to go on vacation, appease their family a little bit, but still have to get work done. And so we'll have the work lounge there for folks who need to be doing that. Also, those who really want to be in tune with themselves, we will have that yoga space there, the spa retreat, and then also the adventure concierge, all there on site. So these are from the phase 2 renderings of the amenities. There'll be the coffee shop over there, and the adventure concierge that we talked about before, workspace, places for people to really come together. And at the end of the day, in Belize, we live outside, right? It's beautiful tropical weather here year round. And when we were going through the floor plans and going through the site map and the third spaces, it was really important to have that outdoor space. So you could go to the privacy of your own home, have your own deck there, or you can come out, meet friends and perhaps other people you're traveling with for coffee and just to enjoy this space. So we're going to start with phase 1 and then we'll jump into phase 2. Phase 1 is currently under construction. We have a few homes there that are sold at this point, and we are anticipating opening phase 1 in early 2023. So if you are coming down to San Pedro in the next couple of months, we can certainly go over there so you can see the property, see the project. It's been moving along really beautifully. Landscaping is starting to go in, and it's really just building shape. It's taking shape, which is really unique and awesome to see. Phase 2, these homes are built on demand. We'll go through phase 2 afterwards, but I do want to mention a couple of things here on the site map, so bear with me here. So we're going to start on the right-hand side, so the phase 1 amenities. So the beach area will be going in, so you will be able to sit on the lounger there, enjoy the water, and have a nice cocktail. In addition to that, we talked about the 5-star restaurant. That's going to be over water here on the dock, the pool. So this is all going in right now. And then there's also an area here that could potentially be a hot tub, or I don't know if you've ever seen those nets that you're able to just lounge in over the water, but we are potentially looking at that too. The other thing I wanted to mention, which I'm really excited about, is you can see here that there's the canal in the middle of the property, and this canal will have lights going into it. So at nighttime, you can see the marine life that's there. There's already abundant marine life they're living there, and so you're able to see that straight from your overhang docks, which I think is just so incredibly unique. And you see, as we continue going over to the left a little bit more, there are bridge walkways, so that as we continue to expand, there is access to get to the amenities from each of the locations. Now, as we get all the way to the left, you see that this is where we'll have more of those phase 2 amenities that we talked about, the lounge space or the workspace. And then in addition to that, a performance stage, which we're really excited about because this will be an area where people are able to come and listen to live music or see a show or whatever that may be right here on the Aruna property. So continuing on, we're going to start with phase 1. So we're just going to dial in a little bit more to what that phase 1 map looks like. So we saw A, this is the area where we have the arrival dock, restaurants, pool. B, this is the beach area that we talked about. C, this is a fourplex. These two, between these two buildings here, those are located there on the bayfront. And then we have canal-front homes. And then we also have garden front homes. So D, canal-front homes, and then E is the garden homes. So when you hear me mention the canal front pricing or gardens pricing, this will just help you understand where it is located within that phase. All right, so I just wanted to also mention, we talked about the restaurant and the terrace lounge. These are just some examples of ideas. This is not how it currently looks, just ideas of what you can expect as you are seeing the construction get completed. So here's a quick overview of this is from about 3-4 weeks ago, and there's been a lot of progress since then. But you can see here when you arrive on boat, then you're welcomed at the welcome dock. The pool, this picture really doesn't do it justice because it is an incredible infinity pool, and you're able just to look right out across the lagoon and just have incredible views. I'm really excited for that to be open. And then as we continue down the boardwalk, we have the fourplex that we mentioned, and then we also have studio and 1-bedroom options. And so here's some views from the deck. This is from the bayfront area specifically, but you just look out. And as I mentioned before, you have that pool right there. So you're looking right out as well. And this is the sort of view that you're looking at, looking directly into San Pedro town. So just very, very beautiful. You can see there, you're just surrounded by water, which is a really unique concept here on the island, that you have that much water around you in one specific development. So at this point, within the fourplex, we only have one of the studios remaining. And we're also going to look at here the Canal-front and the garden studios and 1-bedroom available. And as you can see, they're quite cute. I really like the looks of these homes. There's a lot of charm, there's a lot of character to them, which makes it very different than a lot of the other projects that you'll find on Ambergris Caye. So here's a little bit more of a view of the progress that we're seeing. And this again is taken from about 4 weeks ago. And we're going to continue doing updates. So if you want to be on that webinar update list, feel free to let us know. We'll do it every month just to let you know what's going on and all the progress that's moving forward here with the project. So I'm going to chat with you quickly about the studio suites. So let me just go back so you have an idea of what we're referencing. So these are the studio suites. If you can follow my cursor right over here, these are the studio suites. This one right over here is the 1-bedroom option, but this is the studio suites that we're talking about. And then there's the same layout within the Bayview fourplex over there. And so as you can see, when you're looking at the floor plan here, this is really designed for a studio or a hotel room. So if you're somebody who's looking at this from an investment perspective, do know that this is just an incredible layout. Or if you're someone who just wants to have a place that you can go to every now and again, this would be a great option for you. There is a kitchenette here. So you do have that kitchenette where if you're dining in town, you have some leftovers, you want to bring it back, you can certainly store it here in your kitchenette. And one of my favorite features I'll show you in a moment too with this specific layout is the shower, because when you're looking out, you're looking right out at the water. And I just find that so unique. But the garden studio started about a little under 200,000, and then the canal one's under 225,000. Do note here, guys, write this down, that the furniture is included. Furniture is included in these, and your HOA is a comprehensive $300 a month. If you have any questions about what's included in the HOA, feel free to email me directly and I'll get you those details. It's very comprehensive. So let's look at this is a quick overview of the studio suite, and you're able to see here, this is from the Bayfront specifically, but you're able to see that hardwood that I was talking to you about. You can see it integrated into all of the features here. And in addition to that, there's the high ceilings and the lights there at the top. So you just have an incredible amount of natural light coming through, and it just is incredibly stunning. So we talked about the local hardwood. I'm going to show you a little bit more about that bathroom. I was telling you about the favorite bathroom. So there's the kitchenette area. And then as we walk through, this is obviously the bathroom area. And then there's the shower. And you can see there from the shower, the incredible view looking out at the bay. And I just find that so beautiful. You'll have the same layout there on the studios on the canal. And instead you'll be looking at the canal, which is just really beautiful. And so we're going to jump now over to the 1-bedroom option. So in fact, this can be considered a 2-bedroom block off, but what's really nice is the interior of this is still getting finished. So you have the decision to decide if you would rather have 2 rental studios, or if you would rather have this area, if you follow my cursor, be a full kitchen. So if this was another rental studio, then you would have right over here, you'd have another bed. Or what some folks are more interested in is having a full kitchen. And then, so if you're somebody who's thinking about spending more time in Belize, perhaps you want to live here, or perhaps you want to spend a little bit more than a week or 2 here on the property, you may want to consider having that full kitchen there so that you can cook at home. And so if you do want to do that, there will be an upgrade fee for that, but just do note that it is certainly a possibility for you to do so. So the interior between these 2 spaces here is about 800 square feet. And then exterior, and actually there's even more exterior square footage because this area over here is also a deck. So you do have actually even more space on the exterior. So a lot of exterior space. And as you can see, the overhang into the canal there. So it just feels like you're on top of the water, which you are, and it feels really quite neat. And then also a couple of other things I want to mention is the fact that these do have the 2 bathrooms there. So it can be a 1-bed, 2-bath, or it can be that 2-bed, 2-bath. But if you do have that 2 second bedroom, then just note you won't have the full kitchen, but you do still have that little kitchenette space over there. So what I find really advantageous about the timing of this is that you have that flexibility to decide what you want to do with that space, and then we will get it done for you. So if you are looking at the gardens 1-bed or 2-bed option, it would be $249,000. And then the Canal-front will be just under $300,000. And do note again, for these phase 1 homes, the furniture is included. The only thing that's not included is the closing cost. And that is a totally separate fee that gets paid directly to the government. If you are not familiar with closing in Belize, please reach out to me so I can get you a closing webinar that was done by an attorney, and you're more familiar with what that closing process looks like, but you'll be working with an attorney there to do the actual closing. All right, so just to give everything, just to bring everything together and see it a little bit more and the grand picture of everything. So at this point, we have a couple of Canal-front studios available, Canal-front studios available, R4 and R5. And you can see those over here going for about $225. And then there's also that Canal-front 1-bedroom over there. Then there are the gardens, studios, and 1-bedroom options over here too. And those are going for a little bit less. You know, it really just depends what it is that you're looking for. Malik and I talked about the potential of also on the garden side, adding a rooftop veranda. So even though you may not be canal front, right, like the folks there on the left-hand side, you would still have views of the canal. And, you know, they say that the view is worth $1 million in itself. Obviously, it's going to be a beautiful spot there to still be able to look out and have those water views. So if that's something that would be of interest to you and you're looking at the gardens, do let us know. We can certainly get those numbers over to you. I know
jump in there quickly,
yeah,
Rachel.
go
Sorry
ahead,
to interrupt.
of course.
Also the garden front units, if you look at the bottom right of the screen, that's the west side of it. So the garden units have pretty much unobstructed views of the sunsets, which is fantastic. And there was somebody who mentioned, excuse me, sorry. There was somebody who mentioned that does the canal go east and west? And it does run east and west, with the west side being towards the bottom of the screen. So.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I know a lot of times, you know, if we like to watch sunsets, and I can tell you in Belize, we watch like every day. It never seems to get old, but you'd be able to have those sunset views there. So I'm glad that you mentioned that too, from the rooftop, if you choose to watch it from the rooftop, which would be really quite spectacular. So just to give you guys a little bit more information, if you want, oh yeah, what I was going to mention is that these are all strata titles, so fully titled, and they are just nearing completion. So what that means is you don't have to wait to move in or to have it into the rental program. Sorry guys, I'm gonna just move this up here. I don't know if that moves it for you too, but okay. Continuing on, we're gonna jump into phase 2 at this point. So phase 2 these homes are built on demand, whereas phase 1 is all under construction now. Phase 2 is built on demand. And the reason for that is because there are a few more options. So we wanted to give you the opportunity to decide what model you wanted, where you wanted it. And then from there, we're able to construct it for you. There are 2 tiny homes at this point. That's the Kokora model, 2 tiny homes that are sold at this point and getting constructed starting construction in the beginning of next year. And so we can certainly add yours to the list so that it would be ready by high season of 2023. And so please do note that these prices do not include furniture or closing costs. So do feel free to reach out to me and we get you that comprehensive price. But I just want to make sure everybody's clear with what's included and what's not. So the Kokora model is indeed the tiny home loft model. I really enjoy how nicely laid out these tiny homes are. I think a lot of times we think tiny homes and we think, oh my gosh, it's going to be really small. Well, these have a really great interior space at almost 700 square feet. That's bigger than my condo that I have here on the island, but it's almost 700 square feet and it's a loft style. So you have the high ceilings. And so it feels larger than it is. And then, like I mentioned to you before, a lot of our living here in San Pedro and Ambergris Caye happens outdoors. So you do have that outdoor space too. And so I'll show you the site map again in a little bit, but do note that you can face the gardens or you can face the canal. So you'll be looking out onto the water like we saw in the previous pictures as well. So
there's also optional plunge pools on those as well.
Yes, thank you for that. I know we had one of our clients who was asking if they could add the plunge pool to it, and you certainly can. So just let us know which home model you'd be interested in and we can work on that for you. And so as you can see here, when you're looking at the interiors, the high ceilings, like I mentioned before, and then also the loft. And what I really like about this loft is that it's one that you can actually like stand up in. I know that sounds so silly to say, but sometimes, you know, you have the loft models where you're just kind of crouching down as you roll out of bed, and then, you know, the stairs or some, you know, rickety stairs going down, but this really encompasses space. And I think that's really substantial. And so as you can see here, there's a lot of hardwood features that are integrated into the construction. And we talked about before, you know, the Bali and the Tulum style homes, and you can really see that incorporated here into the phase 2 renderings. These are just renderings, by the way. I know they're very good. And so going back to the floor plans, we mentioned before the bedroom, which is the loft style. And then there's the outdoor space, plenty of outdoor space so that you are able to enjoy the space there. So continuing on, we're going to go through the 2-bed, 2-bath model. What I really like about these 2 homes that we're going to be showing you, the 2-bed and the 3-bed, is that they have their plunge pools over there. You can see the lady there in her bikini going into the plunge pool, but it does give you that additional water space so that you don't necessarily have to walk to the primary pool. And so we're going to go through the floor plan in a moment, but I just want to mention the total square footage is just under 2,000 square feet. Again, a lot of that square footage being encompassed in the outdoor space. So all in, not including closing costs, you're at about 513,000. And here we are with the interiors of the homes. Again, you can see the high ceilings and then the windows that we showed you in the other phase 1 homes, giving what feels like more space to the interiors of the home, but again, Tulum, Bali inspired. And so here, just taking a look at the floor plan. So we had the plunge pool or the lap pool, the dock, which is really quite one of the best features in all of this, because you're able to look right out in the canal at the water. And then you do have the bedrooms and the bathrooms and the standards that you would expect. But I do want to point out to you a difference with these homes is they do have the washer dryer area over there. So if you're considering living here perhaps, or you're trying to cater to families for a rental, that is a nice advantage, is having that. And then in addition to that, you have the storage area. So if you want to keep your personal items here, you're able to lock those up and keep those there in storage. I know a lot of times owners like to have their own linens, so you can certainly keep that there. And then we talked about the outdoor space. So you have the outdoor barbecue area, again, living outdoors and just being in nature. So now we're going to jump over to the 3-bed model. And here you can see it's a very, very similar layout as we saw before. And it is actually very similar to the 2-bedroom model. We just added on another bedroom there for you. So you're able to have that extra space. And I apologize, guys. I think it said 3-bed, but it's, or 3-bath, but it's actually 2-bath. So again, you can see that outdoor area, the outdoor barbecue, the lap pool, the dock, all of those features we talked about before, included here in the 3-bedroom. And I do want to make a mention for those of you who are a little bit more familiar with the Ambergris Caye rental market. Right now, there's an incredible shortage of single standing homes, right? A lot of times what people are going to find when they're looking at rental options are condominiums, and not everybody wants a condominium. There's a lot of people who do want to have space for their family. They want to have privacy. And so these homes really allow for that single family aspect, but within a development. So you know that your property is being taken care of, you know that it's being maintained, you know that there's an in-house property manager who's taking care of your clients and your customers or your renters for you. And that's one of the biggest parts I found from being here on the island, is just having reputable people to take care of your property for you. And so all of that is here included at the Aruna project. So just a quick overview of what we talked about. We have the tiny homes, we have the 2-bedroom homes, we have the 3-bedroom options, so Kokora, Tula, you see those over here, and then we have the Udara. So just taking a look, again, it's really, at the end of the day, it's really about what you want. Are you looking for a place to buy now and rent out and live later, right? If you're looking from that regard, you may be looking for a bigger home. Are you looking primarily for an investment? And so we can help you wade through all the details. I know there are a lot of numbers, there's a lot of information in here, but we can help you wade through those details to really help you figure out which model and which options are the best for you. So looking here more specifically at the phase 2 layout, we have the tiny homes on the right-hand side, and then here on the left-hand side, C17 to C27, these homes can either be the 2-bedroom or the 3-bedroom option, 3-bedroom or the 2-bedroom option. So you just choose there which one you prefer, and then we'll be able to put it there on the location. So at this point in the tiny home area, T12 and T14 are sold, T12 and T14 are sold. And do note that the tiny home prices are the same regardless if it's gardens or canal. So I'd say it's probably a good idea to look at the availability now and perhaps just go for those canal ones because you know that they'll have a great resale and rental potential as well. So here's just the nitty-gritty details, but I'm not going to read that all to you. We can go through that when we are on the phone, just talking about what's included and stamp tax and all that, and the veranda, which we mentioned. And we're going to open the floor at this point to questions. I'd love to hear from you guys, hear what's on your mind. If I don't know the information right off the top of my head, we'll make sure that we send you an email afterwards with all of the details. Oh yeah, and I say thank you for Malik for monitoring this, because I just saw you answered, does the canal run from west to east. Okay, awesome. And then James is saying, is the HOA fee independent of home size? So it's actually based on, here we go, I'm gonna go over here. It's really based on the general size of the homes. So the studios and the one bedrooms and the tiny homes, those are all generally around the same size. So those are about $300 annual fee or monthly fee rather. And then with the larger homes, the 2 and 3 bedroom, those are generally around the same size, and that's $350 US a month. And I have to say, after being in real estate here for a long time, these are some of the most comprehensive HOA fees that I've seen from a developer. And if you just have a pen and paper handy there, I will give you a breakdown of what is included in there. So you do have that boat that goes back and forth between San Pedro and between the property. And so it includes upkeep and gas and the captain for that. In addition, it includes insurance. I know that that was something in phase one. I know that was something that folks were asking for before. So it does include insurance. In addition, it includes upkeep of the exterior of the homes and also landscaping. As you saw, landscaping is a huge part of this project, and being able to properly convey the jungle part of it was really important. So, and it also includes upkeep of the amenities and whatnot, and then also security. And I may be missing a couple of things there, but those are the big general ones for you to know.
And there's also water production and waste is
Yes.
included in there. Really, the only thing that's not is electricity, and each of the units will be metered separately for electricity so that you'll be able to track specifically for your unit how much electricity is being used. Solar is also optional on all of these units of the tiny homes and on the 2 and 3 bedroom homes. So for those who want to put in a solar package, that can help assist with the keeping the cost of electricity down.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm glad that you mentioned that because it's always something that you want to be considering. And I see Joe is asking about air conditioning. Yes, all of the units do have air conditioning. We're doing a single air conditioning per, in the rooms, and we can show you where they'd be located. But yes, we're doing, it's something called split, not single, split AC systems to help keep costs down at the end of the day. So you can just cool down the room that you want to have cooler. And I'm seeing, so James is saying, is the laundry equipment only available in certain models? Yes, at this point, it's only available in the phase 2 models. However, in the phase 1 models, there is going to be like a laundry area. And so you're always able to get your laundry done for you, which is a nice perk as well. But yes. And I'm seeing here, Susan, please tell us how we could purchase at this time and the payment required, down payment, and when final payment is due. Okay, perfect. So for the phase 1 homes, because those homes are just about complete, what we'll do is it's a 10% down, and then we go through you go through all the paperwork, and then at the point of getting ready to deliver title, then the balance would be due. And so those would be due, and will be 90%. So in total, it'll be 100% down within I'd say within a couple of months, really, is what you should expect for those first phase homes. The second phase homes are based on construction progress. So, the nice advantage about phase 1 is that it's really just about done. So you don't have to wait for rentals and for that to get started. For phase 2, the downside is that you do have to wait for that to be constructed, but there's also the staged payment that happens throughout the construction period. So in that case, it is 60% down in order to get started on your home. And then the balance is paid during different milestones of the construction. And one of the big pieces for us as we develop is, and why it's a bigger percentage down, is being able to get all the materials. We've all seen that materials are going up and down and all over. I mean, it's all over the place, right? And so we want to be able to secure the materials at the time that we are going through the pricing with you. And then Reggie's saying, is there a fee for the boat trips? If so, how much? And so Reggie, good question. No, there won't be a fee for the boat. That'll actually be included in the HOA. And our goal is probably to have it hourly within a certain time. And Malik, correct me if I'm wrong, but if folks get stuck in San Pedro until 2, 3 in the morning, they could call the captain and have the captain come pick them up for a small fee if it's outside of that usual boat schedule. So you will still be able to get back and forth regardless of what time it is. And then Reggie is saying, what is the rental management fee if we want to rent out the unit? And Malik, you may have to remind me here of that breakdown that was discussed.
Yeah, so the resort will take a 20% of the gross income as the rental management fee, and then the remainder of the expenses are charged to the fee, and then the profit goes back to the owner after that. So the 20% includes things like marketing and posting on the OTAs and doing all those types of things. Again, you're correct on the boat. They'll be running every hour. Within the regular hours, and then outside of those, you can certainly do for a fee. There was one question above on which way the canal faces. So it's east is the lagoon water is to the east of the property, and then the canal ends at the west side of the property and faces into the towards Secret Beach. And then there was one question here on the sewage system. Do you mind if I jump in there, Rachel, on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
The sewage system, so it's an effluent sewer system. So basically, for every 4 units, we have, for lack of a better word, a septic tank. It's a fiberglass septic tank that goes in the ground, which pumps into a holding tank at the rear of the property, and then is processed through, it's an Arenco wastewater system. It's called an AB Max system, and processes the effluent through that particular system. And what's left over is treated gray water that we actually use for irrigation. So it has no smell to it. Everything's completely sealed in, and allows us to continue on with our goal of being eco-friendly, that the byproduct of the system is gray water that is UV treated, and then we can use it for irrigation on the property.
Awesome. That gray water recycling is certainly huge. All right. And then Joe saying about how much do the different units rent for weekly, monthly. So at this point, Joe, we have them on more of a nightly basis. Now, with that being said, folks can certainly put theirs in the monthly long-term rental program. Typically in Belize, long-term is defined as 6 months or more, but we can certainly look at that with the owners if they prefer to do a monthly ownership. And so we are looking at about $325 a night for the studios. This is really a luxury experience for folks. People can find the $100 a night accommodations in town if they choose that, but it really is more basic. And so when we were looking at pricing, we did consult with a few branded resorts, and so they did come up with the number $325 per night for the studios. And then just estimating based on at least what I've seen in the marketplace for 2 and 3 bedrooms. 2 bedrooms probably going to be around $650 to $800 a night, and then 3 bedrooms, closer to the $900,000 a night. We do have down the beach, about half a mile south of this location, there are 4-bedroom villas there, and I know those are renting for about $1,200 plus, just depending on the season. So in Belize, and I do want folks to hear this too, because it just really depends on seasons in Belize. We have a high season, a peak season, shoulder season, and low season. And let me explain to you what I'm talking about. So typically middle of November through middle of May is considered high season. Within high season, we have the peak weeks. We have Christmas, New Year's Eve, the spring break time, and then Easter. And during those peak times, that's when you're going to get peak prices for the rentals of your condos or for your homes here. And so what I would recommend, if you're somebody who's looking at this from the rental perspective, do not plan to come during that time if you want to be making a lot of money, because that's the point where you're going to be making it. And then so we have what we call the shoulder season. Shoulder season would be like middle of May, June, July. And at that point, it's not as busy as high season, but it's not as busy as low season. It's actually when we start to see a lot of families coming because kids are off from school. So they're coming at that point. And then we have low season. So we're looking at August, September, October. It's usually when the island is very, very quiet, when a lot of places are either updating or going on vacation. And so again, from the rental perspective, I just want to make sure you all hear that, because sometimes we get the owners who are like, all right, we're going to rent out our home, and we want you guys to make us as much money as possible, but also can you set aside the last 2 weeks of December for us because our family is coming. And so you really just have to be realistic with yourself about what you're looking for, so that you're able to appropriately get that noted. And then I do want to mention occupancy as well. So do note that we have slated year 1 occupancy at about 55%, year 2 about 58%, and then year 3 about 60%. So note that it takes a few years for any project to get up and running, and occupancy increasing over and then stabilizing by about year 3 at 60%. So just a heads up there. And if anybody is interested in getting pro forma, just reach out to me directly. I think I have the email here. Give me a second as I get to it. Info@Luna Realty Belize. We're able to get that pro forma over to you, and just shoot me a message about what unit type specifically you're looking at so that we can make sure it is appropriate for the P&L is appropriate for what you're looking for.
And I think, Rachel, we can, there's been a couple questions on the property management fees and advertising. I think we can send those over to people separately so that they can see what's included in the HOA and then what the property management fee includes. And then developer financing, we are looking at some developer financing, so we can put together a package. It depends on the unit, but we can put together something for that for people. And Rachel, you might be able to answer better on the local interest rates and things with the bank.
Yeah, I'm going to say, Reggie, the chance of you getting local bank financing is probably impossible if you're not a permanent resident or a citizen here. And then the reason that I say that is just because it's just not simple for foreigners to come in. And there's just a lot more risk associated with that from the bank's perspective. So you're not going to get it as easily. If you are a permanent resident or a citizen here, interest rates are anywhere from 7, 10, 12%. I know one bank was charging as much as 18% interest. So what I would highly recommend is working with us from the developer financing perspective. But actually there are some people, and I can fill you in here too. What I have had some clients do previously is get a mortgage or a second mortgage on their home in their state, in the States or Canada, wherever you're from. And then, or you get a line of credit and then you use that for the purchase of your home, because I can tell you your bank in the States or Canada, North America, or wherever you are is never going to finance on property for you outside of their jurisdiction because there's no legal claim to it. So I have had clients do that successfully where they're able to get a line of credit from their bank though, or they're able to refinance their home or get a second mortgage. And typically those interest rates are a lot lower than what you would even see from banking in Belize. So I would highly recommend going that route too. That might be a little bit easier for you. Especially, because we are still working at the financing from the development perspective. Here's a good question from Fred. He said, what is the noise like during construction? When is the estimate of all construction being finished? And I'll let you answer that one, Malik.
Yeah, we're like Rachel said, we're pretty much finishing up phase 1 developments, which is good. So and then we're going to continue to work down the south side of the resort. It's likely around 2 years for the entire project to be completed. When it's all said and done, there's going to be about 100 units in this development, so it is quite large. So there will be some action. I think the good thing is that we're facing the buildings are built on a concrete and they'll be facing into the canal. So a lot of the construction work will be done out of sight and out of the way. And of course, we'll try to minimize disruptions as much as possible, but likely around 2 years to complete the entire project.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that there, because you guys are talking about the construction, and what I've seen from developments typically is when there is the phase 1 or the earlier phases and there still is construction to come, the prices are priced accordingly, right? When the project is done or when it's nearing completion, then you tend to see an increase in the prices. So, we do give you a bit of a break there of understanding and knowing that it is still going to be a little bit of a construction spot for a little bit of time, but at least phase 1 will be in its own nook. You'll have the restaurant there, you'll have the pool, you have the beach area, and you'll be able to enjoy those amenities too. All right, Joe is saying, how many miles per hour hurricane can your home sustain? Joe, I don't know the exact number of miles, but I can tell you about a category 3 is what's anticipated. You can also add hurricane shutters to your specific cottage if you choose to do that. We can help you with that, but you can certainly add hurricane shutters to help with the windows for anything beyond that.
And just for everybody's reference, it's we're building them up about 8 feet above the seawater, so it would have to be quite a significant storm surge to come up. And the buildings themselves on future phases are concrete. On phase 1, the timbers are 8x8 timbers, so they're really quite significant. They're not, I promise you that they're not, from a building standpoint, they're not going there. The biggest concern, I think, it will be the glass. So having hurricane shutters would definitely be an advantage, but from a sea level issue and from wind speed impacting the roofs and or the building itself, we're pretty confident that it can withstand significant speeds.
Yeah, and I do want to add there the pilings down to the bedrock, so they're very securely built into the ground there. All right, awesome. I'm seeing, so a majority of the questions here I'm seeing are property management fees and whatnot. And if you guys would like a copy of that property management agreement, I'm very happy to send that over so you can get some more clarification about what those numbers look like and what the breakdown looks like, HOA as well. We can certainly send you that whole list. And I'm seeing here, and Susan, I'll send you more of a breakdown of, well, Susan, let me know what phase you're interested in, whether it's phase 1 or phase 2. And then from there, it'll be a little bit easier for me to describe to you payments and when they would be due. All right, guys. Well, with that being said, we're just a little under our hour here, which is awesome. I like to be respectful of everybody's time. So with that, feel free to reach out. We'll be in touch again with the recording and to answer any specific questions that are on your mind. Malik, before we hop off here, any other final words you can think of?
No, I think we're really excited. I really appreciate everybody being so engaged in the conversation here. It's always fantastic when we have people ask lots of questions. I know we've got a couple points there on financing and HOA and stuff that we'll send out to everybody, so that you'll have it on paper of what to expect and what's included and what's not included. And thank you everybody for your time, and hope you have a great afternoon.
Awesome. Thank you. And guys, I'm seeing some last minute questions come in here now. Feel free to email me directly, info@Luna Realty Belize, those questions, and I will get those answered for you. All right, everyone. Thank you. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I look forward to being in touch. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.